What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on I don't even know what night it is. These storms are keeping us all busy as we were tracking those with you early this evening. We still have a few thunderstorms out there right now. We're going to get to that radar in just 1 second. First, I want to give you the rundown of what we're going to talk about tonight. Of course, it's the late night storms that are staying with us. It's our typical sea breeze pattern back with a vengeance yesterday, tonight, and I think another night tomorrow before we start to see things maybe transition to like a kind of a different pattern. Tropically speaking, not a tropical system, but a tropical wave is going to increase our rain chances and kind of finagle with our weather pattern just a little bit. Then we're going to talk about the tropics coming up in about 10 minutes. There is a concerning long range pattern. Now, I want to be clear about something here when I say concerning long range pattern. It's fine if it's a concerning pattern if we don't have a storm to go with it. So that's the thing. You need to have the two to line up, or you don't want to have the two to line up. But that's what we're going to be looking at, the large scale pattern when we're looking at the tropics, that if we had a storm, say mid to late August, that's when things look a little dicey in terms of getting those storms further to the west, which of course we don't want because that puts the Caribbean islands at risk. And then, of course, the Gulf or the southeast corner of the United States, also known as just land in general. We like to keep those things east. And then at the end, we're going to have the sound off section where I will take your comments and questions. Elizabeth, appreciate you being here. Thank you for that. Storm Chaser Braden, what's going on, my friend? CW Stidham, hope you're doing well tonight. The pool's at 4 inches. I don't know what's going on with the comment thing tonight. Melissa, thank you again. I appreciate you guys for being here so early. What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well on a Tuesday night. Before we get into some of the forecast stuff, let's take one look at the radar. It's certainly a little bit better than where it was for most of us. However, I wouldn't go driving down the turnpike in Osceola County, say from Kissimmee down to Kenansville, almost to Yeehaw Junction. Look at this bad boy here. There's nothing severe, although there is that box on it. There is that box on it. That means it's a significant weather advisory or special weather statement. That's what the Weather Service has highlighted. I want to show you something here. This is not going to produce, I don't think, a tornado at this stage of the game, but this is exactly how we produced that tornado in Osceola County yesterday. We're going to look at some things real quick. This is the East Coast sea breeze. That line, that green line, everybody see that? That's kind of pinned up here. Then we have this green line. You see that advancing down? That is an outflow boundary. So what happens is you get rain-cooled air from thunderstorms that creates its own kind of area of high pressure, and it slides back down and it acts like a bubble and it helps to force air up. It also changes the wind direction. So out of this, we have the wind out of the northeast. Out of here, we have the wind out of the east, and that does induce a little bit of spin. So I would be watching if we get this cell over here, because it could find something that it likes in spin. We don't have a very dynamic environment where we're talking about shifting of the winds from the surface to about 15 to 20,000 feet above your head. That would be a big tornado day. But certainly in a situation like this, when you have the East Coast sea breeze kind of hanging out over here, West Coast sea breeze pushing over, and then you have an outflow boundary involved, that is where we see the collision. Susan asks, is there a YouTube channel for folks who live in Boca Raton? I don't know, but the good thing is we do talk about Boca on this channel. We are a Central Florida-based station, but at 9:30, we're watching right now, we do give a whole Florida-centric view of what is going on. So you come to the right place if you want to subscribe to this channel. We talk about overall weather patterns that impact the entire state of Florida. And as you'll see as we get into our forecast section, that we do have a good deal forecast for Southeast Florida. That's coming up in just 1 second. I'm going to start on the wide view here of the tropics, and this is going to go into a deeper tropical conversation. There are the two areas that the Hurricane Center has highlighted there in orange, 40% shot for the one closer to home. That one would move towards the Carolinas. And then a 50% shot in this big elongated thing with that guy right there. Again, I'm going to get into that a little more detail in a few minutes. The reason why I showed this puny looking tropical wave right here, it's a subtle signal. It's the It's the title of this live stream tonight. It's that tropical wave that could help to increase rain chances for us. Now, it's not going to develop before it gets to Florida. We're not talking about a tropical storm. So, again, I want to be clear about that. However, what this is going to do is it's going to drag tropical moisture across the Florida peninsula. So, we're getting through Wednesday, okay, we're getting through Thursday, getting through Friday, kind of typical pattern. And then once we get into Saturday, that's whenever we get that area of low pressure. It's kind of still kinked here. So it's still more of like an open wave, but you see all that moisture. There's Southeast Florida in Boca, okay? All of the heavy rain. So what that wave is going to do is kind of drape that tropical moisture over the Florida peninsula, help to induce more moisture, and then also help to get some thunderstorms going. So there's a lot of things at play. Again, a tropical storm is not coming to Florida here over the weekend. It's just going to help to increase rain chances for the kids on the last kind of full weekend before back to school in a lot of cases. So not ideal. And I do think the western, see that strike right there, Ponce Inlet? That's the one thing I love about these cameras. And we do show cameras across all of Florida. I didn't have a chance to, I normally pick a camera from North Florida, Central Florida, and South Florida, or Southwest Florida. So I get around the state of Florida because I know that the streaming is lacking through the state of Florida. So I try to cover everybody here. So everybody in Florida is welcome. But we were doing some high level tracking, storm tracking earlier today. And then I always show this graphic to get you set up for tomorrow. So South Florida, we're talking low 90s. That's a little bit above average. In the gray box, Vero Beach, we're going to have some thunderstorms around. That'll keep us right around average. It's still going to be a little cooler, relatively speaking, in the Panhandle. Jacksonville, we're at 92, near average tomorrow. Tallahassee, Pensacola, a couple notches below. And that's because, again, of this thing here. And I started to show that trough there, that's still that cold front that kind of died there last weekend. It's still there. It's still keeping the clouds around, and it is still keeping those showers around with it. Here's the high resolution future radar, and this will really kind of help you out if you're around different corners of the state of Florida. And again, just let me know if you want to zoom in somewhere or if you have questions or anything. I'm going to try to bounce around. I try to stay on the rails as much as possible. And then save the questions to the end. Limitless Lightning, he requested a little more time for Q&A sessions. I'm going to do my best to do that as well, because that's the best part about this show, is that it's interactive. And I wish my stupid comment thing was working tonight to pull your name over and to give you a shout out. I'm going to figure that out. The station took a power hit today, so everything is in shambles. We got hit by lightning earlier tonight and highly electrified thunderstorms. We have somebody from Jamaica on the stream tonight. Hope you are doing well. Thanks so much for being here. Anyway, here's what tomorrow could bring, and this is why I think storm mode is going to be activated again tomorrow. And keep in mind, I'm gonna make sure that's on my Facebook page tomorrow. That's Jonathan Kegges News 6 if you want to give that a follow, and I'll let you know if there's going to be a stream following our 6 o'clock news. We did it tonight. It was wild. Did it last night? Oh, we couldn't do it last night because we were on air because of the tornado warning in Osceola County. But this is what it could look like tomorrow, right down the spine of Central Florida and then right to the southwest side of the state as well, closer to Sarasota, Fort Myers, Bradenton. So it could be another late night round of thunderstorms coming up tomorrow. Coming up in about 3 minutes, we are going to talk tropics. I rapid fired that there before. Again, we're going to put this back on and I'm going to show you the loop here, but we're going to be back in about 3 minutes after we take a short break, and it's going to be all tropics. If you have any questions on the storms tonight, storms from last night, storms tomorrow, or the tropics, please do me a favor, post that in the comment section. Let me know where you're tuning in from at the very least. If you're watching this on News 6 Plus, I've been told a lot of people dial up their phone and find the stream on YouTube as well, so that you can comment in the stream, and then we can bring those over if the comment thing was working. But I will give you guys a shout out. Great to see everybody on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody is well after those rockin' storms throughout a lot of Florida. I'll see you guys in 3 minutes. What's going on, guys? We are back on a Tuesday night. Hope you're doing well. News 6 live at 9:30, coming at you live on the News 6 YouTube page and on News 6 Plus tonight. Hope everybody's doing well after the storms. A lot of lightning, highly electrified tonight. Before we get into the tropics, I do want to just get you a check of the radar because we do have some rock and thunderstorms rolling through parts of central Florida. This is now pushing towards Avon Park into Sebring. This is north of Yeehaw Junction, and lots of lightning closer to Kenansville. I would not travel down the Florida Turnpike. Say if you're leaving from Orlando and maybe going to Miami, I would delay it. I mean, it's rough out there on the turnpike. That rain is coming down like crazy, and there is tons and tons of lightning. So I would delay it if at all possible. Okay, on to the tropics. There are a few waves, again, that we are watching. I'm going to rapid fire these guys because they are of no concern to Florida. Just want to keep you in the loop. What we're looking at here is a 40% shot for development over the next 7 days off that Carolina coast, and technically off of the Florida coast as well. But this is going to have the tendency to drift north and then kind of hug the Carolina coast over the next couple of days. Tropical depression, low-end tropical storm possible as we move into the weekend. Not a big deal, certainly no deal for Florida. In terms of this guy, this is the one that's getting all the buzz on social media. Development chances with this are 50%. Conditions are conducive for gradual development. So we're not looking at anything explosive right now with this tropical wave in the central part of the Atlantic right now. A tropical depression is going to be possible as we move into the weekend. Models are still kind of out to lunch as we don't have a ton of information on this. Some take it out to sea. Some do try to get it a little further west. But if you were with us last night, we talked about that there is a way out for the thing. And I want to show you that here. And this is also going to come into play for our long range pattern. This is the out, that little blue blip up there. Okay. This is what we're going to be dealing with and hope to be dealing with. I hope all the models begin to catch on is, if I can find my pencil, that little dip in the jet stream. So that upper low right there is going to help to split the high pressure, and that's going to help it'll feel the weakness in the ridge and go out. So that's what we like. We like when there is a little storm system up here to split the ridge. What I think happens after that, and this indication has honestly been there since before the hurricane season started. It's one of the reasons why we thought the hot spots this year when we put our seasonal forecast together were unfortunately going to be the Greater Antilles, the Northern Caribbean Islands, Turks and Caicos, and then the eastern seaboard of the United States. That was one of the hot spots there. And then late into the season on the Eastern Gulf. So unfortunately, Florida's kind of right in between all of that. If we take this is the European Ensemble 500 millibar chart. So that means we're looking at about 15 to 20,000 feet above our head now. This is going to be the steering pattern for these storms. And where you see red, that is where there's higher than normal pressure. Okay? And you see that all up in here. That's what we call, if you're with us last night, does anybody know what this pattern is? There's a name for this pattern. If you were with me last night, if you remember it posted in the chat room, I'll hold off on saying it. But there's a lot of high pressure hanging up in New England and in the Canadian Maritimes. There's also higher than normal pressure down here. So if there were to be something out in this time frame, it would help to push it into the Caribbean because there's just high pressure like latched everywhere. So that's one of the things that we're going to be watching going forward is there going to be a storm at the same time we get high pressure here? Obviously, we're hoping no. And as we take this further in time, there's more expansive high pressure, which would, I mean, there's a lot of high pressure everywhere. That'd be good if it's all high pressure. That means it's gonna help suppress things anyway. Limitless lightning, got it. It's the ridge over troubled water setup. It's called because it's called a ridge of high pressure. It's to mimic the song, like it's a play on the words of the song, bridge over troubled waters. And why it's called that is because you have high pressure anchored in this direction, and it doesn't allow the storm to escape. It pushes it east, or excuse me, it pushes it west toward land, which is obviously not what we want. So that's going to be why the pattern is concerning. And let me be clear, that doesn't mean there's going to be a storm there. If we get into climatology and we start to get more storms, we just need to be watching that closely. Again, there's no way to tell if it would be Florida storm or the Carolinas or New England or the Caribbean. It's just we never like to see that pattern setting up, especially as we get into the climatological peak of hurricane season. So just wanted to break that down. Here on this channel and at News 6, we don't follow those windshield wiper model runs that are plastered everywhere. I've already seen a major hurricane into Florida like 3 times, and that's already wiped out and then come back and then gone to a different place. You're going to drive yourself crazy if you do that. It's got to look at pattern recognition. And mid to late August, it's a concerning signal. We just hope that the Atlantic still isn't conducive because, by the way, it's really not that conducive right now. Look at this. So here's our wave out here, little swirl. That little swirl right there. There's still a lot of dry, dusty, stable air hanging out in the main development region. It's not the end all be all. The wave honestly looks decently healthy tonight. But it still needs to fend off a lot of that dry, dusty air. I'll leave you with this one thing because it's what we talk about on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday afternoon, the Climate Prediction Center does look into the long range, and they forecast where they believe that tropical cyclones in this part of the world, the depressions, tropical storms, and hurricanes, of course, but where these storms could develop. And note that they're picking the hot spots here from August 13th through the 19th. They have a greater than 40% chance of something approaching the islands. And then there's a greater than 20% chance of something to follow that in that August to 19th time frame. So this is week 2 into week 3. Then they also have the week 3 area. This is from August 20th through August 26th, a greater than 20% shot for something to roll off the coast of Africa again and work their way west. Of course, 'tis the season. It's mid to late August. It's getting into the climatological peak of hurricane season, so we're always on guard. But again, it's just kind of reinforcing that point. The one thing that kind of goes with why I wanted to show you the concerning pattern, note that there is absolutely nothing that curves. It's all kind of due west. And that would go in line with, again, what I just showed you. The preseason trends were there on some of the long-range climate models, and I've not seen that break just yet. So we just need to hope that the dry, dusty air continues to win out for everybody involved. Alrighty, guys, have to take another quick break. I'm back in 3 minutes. We're taking some questions if you have any. If you don't, post in the comments. If you're enjoying the live stream tonight, let me know. If you hate it, also let me know. I can take the criticism. If you want something to change, let me know, because again, I plan on being here every Monday through Friday, 9:30, to just shoot the breeze about the weather, talk about how it's going to impact Florida as a whole, and then, of course, in hurricane season, talk about the tropics to kind of separate the noise, the truth from the trash, as I like to call it. And we get all in depth every Monday through Friday. I'm here for you guys at 9:30. So let me know what you would want to see different, what you like better, and consider subscribing to the channel so that you can come here and visit on YouTube every Monday through Friday, 9:30. I'm back in a couple of minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back and getting ready to wrap things up in a few minutes. News 6 at 10 o'clock begins. I'm going to be tracking the storms that are still out there tonight, prolific in Osceola County especially. So catch us there if you're on News 6 Plus. Stay right where you're at if you're on the News 6 YouTube page. It's on a different stream, but nonetheless, you can find us on YouTube as well. And then we're going to recap everything at 11 o'clock, likely winding down there, but we are going to keep things rocking. All right, question. Rail Stalker Adventure says, what will the rip current risk look like for the NC Coast during the hurricane? I don't think it's going to be a hurricane there with that thing sliding up the coast, but I do think it will be high, the rip current risk. And you're talking about this guy right here. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be a hurricane, but nonetheless, nope, wrong one. Sorry. It's this one, closer to the Carolina coastline. So that has the potential to be, I think maximum strength here is going to be a tropical storm. So all that stuff. Tuning in from Stuart, Florida. I hope nothing comes my way. Any chance something will come my way in tropical in nature? There's nothing imminent. That's the one good thing here. Right now, if you've seen those crazy model runs that have been out there, and let me see if I can bring up the ensembles real quick. And I'll bring up the GFS ensembles because it's been the parent GFS that has been kind of wild in its runs. I'm just loading it and I'm going to show you. But I will say this is exactly what you want to see and exactly why you don't look at the crazy model runs, because its ensemble now, its ensemble has kind of, it looks a lot more like the Euro ensembles, with taking that wave for the most part up and out in the weakness in the ridge. So that's why we talked about that steering pattern is critically important rather than looking at the windshield wiper effect. A few of those ensembles still had that bad boy coming west, but it's certainly not a lot. And the trend continues to bend. The trend is your friend. And again, that's why we do these streams like this. Number one, I like hanging out with you guys, and I hope you like hanging out here at 9:30 to talk about the weather. Again, we go over the impacts, how the weather's going to impact you across the state of Florida for the next couple of days. Obviously, get in depth with the tropics, but also just kind of put this trash in the dumpster. And again, I'm never going to write anything off because I've been humbled by the weather many, many times in my career. Okay. However, those singular model runs that show like a major hurricane into Florida 14 days out, it's just garbage, and people are just trying to exploit you for money because they get ad revenue off those clicks. So anyway, positive trend continues. I'm obviously still watching it. There are a couple ways to follow, but until the main development region of the Atlantic proves to me that it can sustain a storm, because none have been able to remain alive, kind of like I'll believe it when I see it. At this point, the Euro especially, they've been bullish and then fell off a cliff. Alrighty, guys, I have to go suit up for the 10 o'clock news. I'll see you over there on YouTube and on News 6 Plus. Really appreciate you spending time with us. Follow me on Facebook, Jonathan Kegges, News 6. I'll let you know if storm mode is going to be activated for the state of Florida tomorrow, early in the evening, and get that stream set up so you can track those storms alongside me tomorrow on News 6 Plus and on YouTube. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon.